As an alienated parent, you may think once the judge hears my side of the story, they'll understand and they'll side with me, right? Unfortunately, this is not true in many, many cases. Today, we are alienation myth busting. Hey, this is Ryan Thomas, an adult child of parental alienation who discovered the truth and reconnected. And I want to highlight this important myth because so often when you're going through alienation, you think and hope and expect that once a professional, once a court system, once a judge can actually look at all of the evidence, can look at all of the documentation, and most importantly, they can hear your side of the story, that they will be able to see the truth. They will be able to identify, this is what's happening, this is parental alienation, my child is being turned against me, therefore I will get judgments in my favor. I will get custody. I will get a lot of parenting time. But unfortunately, this is a big myth in the world that we live in today. And this is a big myth to put your hope and faith in the court system alone, not only in the United States, but in all over the world. It doesn't matter what court system. I've worked with so many parents who the stories of the injustices that go on in the family court system play out all over the world. So this is a widespread problem. The reality of the situation is, no matter how compelling you think you are, no matter how much documented proof you may even be able to provide, and how much of a compelling story that you believe that if the judge could really absorb what they're hearing, they'll side with you. The reality rather, is that cases are often and always determined on what the judge looks at, what the evidence was that was presented, who was more compelling in their overall case, and most importantly, who can get the child to side with the alienator, or can the alienator get the child to side with them in a way that the judge can look at it and say, well, what does the child want? What is the child's perspective? Let me talk to the child, even in some cases. And that is such an important focus of the court system when they begin to sometimes take the child into account and what they want. Now, on face value, you should say, of course, the child should be taken into consideration. What do they want? What do they think? How do they feel? The unfortunate part is with alienation is that many people can't see that a child is being manipulated. Even if a judge takes a child into the chambers and says, it's just you and I, just talk to me, they know that that other parent is out there. They know that whatever they say, the judge, or they're afraid that the judge is going to let the cat out of the bag and express to everyone, including the alienator, what the child wants, or what the child perhaps says they really want. I don't want to fight. I love both of my parents. Here's who I'd prefer to stay with. And if it's not the answer that the alienator has wanted, if it's not the going with the story that you have one good parent and one bad parent, and that you have to push that bad parent away, then that child's entire life will get uprooted. There will be anger and frustration and resentment, and that child will pay a price for not going along with it. So the child will give lip service and say and do exactly what the alienator has influenced them to do, not necessarily what they actually want. So you come in thinking that you're going to be able to tell your side, and you will be able to tell your side, but your belief is, because truth is on your side, because your perspective is one that cares about the child, what's in the best interest of the child, because you know that you have this strong, loving bond, and that even if an emotional child is upset, there's another level of manipulation and brainwashing and even coercion that's going on, that you'll be able to show this. Once you have the opportunity to lay it all out, the picture will be very clear of what's going on. And the unfortunate reality is that this doesn't always happen. The alienator is often more compelling. The alienator is able to twist things in a way that puts you in a really bad light. They will use everything that you have said and everything that you have done against you. Even emotional outbursts that understandably happen will be used against you. I once worked with a parent whose entire case was living in an environment in which the alienator wore a body cam would turn the body camera off, would say the most horrible and outrageous things to that parent, turn the camera on, and then you would just capture the emotional outburst. They would then say, this is an example of what it's like to live with this person. And then, of course, the more that you're constantly being filmed in your own home during this chaotic environment, of course, it is going to hurt your mental stability. Of course, you are going to have emotional breakdowns. And your worst moments for this parent were captured on tape. That wasn't a real representation of what was going on. That was a coerced environment in order to bring out the worst. And yet that was all brought in to court, and that was used to say this parent is unstable. Clearly, and again, this is where my mind is blown, clearly the parent who is walking around with a body cam taping 24/7, except for the parts that don't include the alienator's gaslighting and lies and accusations, that's not captured. But right, the initial aftermath and maybe the parent losing their cool and freaking out and crying, that's acceptable. And a court system will look at that and say, okay, we'll accept that. Now, again, as I always say, whenever I talk about court and lawyers and legal things, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. This is not even a legal prognostication of things. It is what I see with my own eyes. It is reports that I have heard from other parents that I've worked with, and understanding I was a child who was involved in the family court system. I had very little to say or very little to do in it, but I have a perspective that I want to share. And so that is what I am doing here. And so when you start thinking and hoping that the court is going to sort all of this out, and then you find that the court doesn't actually want to look at this deeper, or they will hear parental alienation, and then the whole conversation becomes, what is the definition of parental alienation? Does it meet the standards? What is the criteria? Does this meet the threshold? Now you're not even talking about the bad behavior. You're talking about a definition of something. Oftentimes, people don't even want to talk about the idea of parental alienation. It's too complicated. It's too complex. There's too much gray area. So they will eliminate anything. And every time you, with your compelling argument, tries to come in and explain what's going on, we don't want to hear it. And so is it a factor of they don't want to see or don't want to know? Is it that they can't see what's going on? Is it willful? Is it something where they're just not equipped? Things haven't caught up enough in the legal system? I don't know. And what the solution is, I don't know either, because that is not my area of focus. My area of focus is, what can you do as an alienated parent to put yourself in the best possible position to reconnect, especially when you're going through all of these traumatic events, your child is going through this, and you're being blamed for everything, while you are doing, of course, everything you can to protect your legal rights, and your attorneys and everyone else is working on that. What can you do on the interpersonal side? What can you do that says, I'm not going to rely on a court system or a judge to see this. I am going to do everything I can to know how to show up, to know what to say, what not to say, how to communicate, how to do everything I can to reach a child that has been being systematically turned against me. Now, if that's you, if you've been in the court system, if you are currently in the court system, and you're trying to also look for other ways that you can communicate, other things that you can do where you're not just waiting for someone else's schedule, waiting for someone else's decision to impact your entire life, and you want help from me on all of the other things that you can do with a step-by-step plan that can be customized to your situation, you can click the link below this video to get information on how I can help you, and I look forward to that opportunity. So, wanted to give you that myth and the reality so you know what's what and you can plan. I'm Ryan Thomas. Thanks so much, and I will see you on another video. Hey, it's Ryan Thomas. Thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and it also helps to spread the word. Be sure to watch other videos from this channel, and also check below this video for other resources and links to help.